so many.
Oh, hey, I've got news articles where the police admit that an illegal can be drunk and they don't arrest them, but they arrest me. Now, they should arrest me, but they won't arrest them. I mean, they're like super class. They arrest congressmen who are drunk.
Well, there's so many people, and this is a part of the answer to what happened in the Oklahoma City case when they came after me and other cases that other people have been involved in. There's always a section of people, and I talked about this on your program years ago, there's always a percentage of the people, when they hear things like a cover-up about Oklahoma City or anything else, they do not want to hear it. It puts so much fear into them, and their reaction is they want to kill the messenger.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll go along, they'll be cheerleaders and accomplices with those who attacked the messenger. And that's how they accomplish what they accomplish. But even those people will wake up as time goes on, because they'll come out of their denial, because after a while they'll see, and this is what I think I'm seeing today, more people starting to wake up and realize, hey, there really is something to X, or what he said, or what.
Well, I agree with you, because what I run into is there's a certain amount of people who want to live in denial and say everything's fine no matter what's going on. They say we're being negative. No. We're trying to protect what's good by admitting what's bad. It's like if I have a fly in my soup, I don't say, I'm not going to be negative and eat it. I take the fly out.
Well, one of our investigators used this analogy, and I love it. I've used it a lot of times back when we were investigating the bombing. He was a retired officer in the Marine Corps, good guy, and he said, he said, Charles, I bet it's like a ship. He says, most people don't know this. When a ship starts taking on water in the ocean, you think it would just, go on over. But he said it actually gets to be about 17 degrees. This is what he said. I'm assuming it's true or accurate. It gets to about 17 degrees, and it just flops on over. And he said that's how this public opinion and things will happen someday. Is it'll just keep mounting and mounting until all of a sudden the people will wake up.
No, I agree.
And that's what they're afraid of. So
it's a flashpoint. It's a flashpoint. It happens in jumps.
And those that are we recognize that are our enemies, that are enemies of a constitutional form of government, they know that and they're afraid of it. And we need to use that to our advantage.
I agree. Well, I'll tell you this. Globalists just 5 years ago, 6 years ago, still were arrogant. I look at their body language now. I go to events. They look freaked out, but I don't think it's even freaked out about us as much as it is. A lot of economists I talk to think they've lost control, that they have just totally screwed everything up.
Yeah, and that's another thing that wakes people up, unfortunately, because we've heard that, all of our lives, because it's true that there's a lot of people that never will wake up until, their back pocket, their pocketbook gets hit hard enough, and the people are getting hit hard. And so a lot of them are going to wake up for that reason. It's unfortunate, but if it works for us, that's fine. We need everything to our advantage that we can get.
Yeah, but it looks like their pocketbook, if they think this is bad, they ain't seen nothing yet, as they say.
Yeah.
I mean, if this continues, it's going to be unbelievable. Let's talk to Steve in Colorado. You're on the air with Charles Key, State Rep.
Hello there, Alex.
Hi.
Hello, Representative Key. I think one of the main reasons why people want to shoot the messenger so much is because they don't want to actually have to believe that their government is degraded into such a despicable situation. And then also another reason is because they might actually have to do something with the knowledge that they found out.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We know that there were multiple bombs. Can you explain how you can say that?
Well, there's just too many experts. This is a subject that is difficult for most people because they don't understand all this, and I was one of those. I learned a lot more than I ever would have, if I hadn't been involved in the bombing. But you've got experts, people that have done this all their lives, like General Parton and many others. And we've got some of those in that report that we published that come out and analyze, and this is what they do for a living. They've done it all their lives in military and in commercial application. They analyze terrorist bombings. They analyze tests that they do, like at Eglin Air Force Base, that's been talked about a lot. And they know how these things work and what will and won't happen. And they can analyze a case like this and say, well, here's what happened. Here's how many bombs were used, and here's where they were placed, et cetera, et cetera. The experts have looked at it, analyzed it, and concluded that multiple bombs were used. Am I still on?
Yes, go ahead and continue.
Okay. So that's how we know about the number of bombs. people like General Parton and others.
Sorry, I was sitting there messing with my board, Representative Key. Going back to the BATF, what we do know is they showed up in their bomb gear seconds after the blast and were telling EMTs and people that showed up to dress wounds and say that they'd seen them up in the higher floors. What do you think was behind that?
Well, that's pretty interesting. You know, you had an AP reporter that's been around for a long time, and he gave that testimony on videotape that he was immediately on the scene, and he said immediately these ATF officials showed up with the black gear, you know, all decked out in their black SWAT team type gear, like they were poised, ready for this to happen. And that's where that information comes from. Also, related to that is the Oklahoma City Fire Department getting some call the Friday before the Wednesday bombing about them being in a higher prepared state for something that may be developing over the next several days.
And then didn't we also have the BATF out at a base testing blowing up trucks?
Yeah, out in New Mexico, we're blowing up trucks with AMPHO bombs. Very interesting also, to say the least.
And this is in the months before, and of course you're not just saying the experts say multiple bombs, or how does a truck bomb not blow the pillars out right in front of the pillars the same size way back in the back of the building, and then why were chunks of it blown across the street, and why were there blast points on the rebar? I mean, all of that. You also have the governor coming on, who obviously wasn't involved because he was, you know, he wouldn't have been saying this. Yeah, we found multiple bombs, very sophisticated bombs inside, and then the BATF shows up and says, no, that's not what you saw.
Yeah, and then you had another bomb expert. I mean, they've got a bunch of them, but you have another terrorism and bomb expert that was on one of the local stations that came in studio just, you know, a few hours after the bombing, and was reporting also that, we've just found out that they found other unexploded bombs that they've taken out of the building, and this is really great because as they take these apart, it's going to help us find out who did it and be able to track them down, hold them accountable, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, just all kinds of information like that. I tell you, some of the stuff that Jesse Trinidad, the attorney we were talking about earlier, has been able to force out that further sheds light on this case is the information about Andreas, or otherwise known as Andy Strassmeyer, the West German that came over to this country and certainly was here with the knowledge of our government, maybe even officially working for them on some level. But he was certainly knowledgeable about this and was working with McVeigh and other people. And some of the documents that they've been able to pull out over the last 2 or 3 or 4 years confirm that. And
the Southern Poverty Law Center involved. I mean, this is just despicable activities, but they've got to get our guns one way or the other. Just amazing. And then the fact that McVeigh was a government operative coming out in affidavits. It's just incredible. Greg in New Jersey, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you very much, and thank you for putting me on. It's kind of ironic here out in Oklahoma. They're stating their rights to be left alone from the federal government, and here in New Jersey, which is no doubt our representative government in the state is the criminal syndicate. We actually have the U.S. attorney doing the work that New Jersey's attorneys should be doing. We have 1,000 attorneys working for the state government in New Jersey, yet they have to use the federal U.S. attorney to prosecute the corrupt politicians that are here. So far, they've nailed, like, the mayor of Newark.
Well, that's another problem. They'll never go after locals with the state. It's like it's supposedly the purview of the feds, who are even more corrupt. Very dangerous violation of states' rights. Mr. Key?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I had somebody on another program several days ago call me up and talk about civil rights laws and how the feds had to come in and prosecute people for, you know, racial types of crimes and what have you. And so that's a tough issue. You get down the path, you buy into the federal government having a good role and the only one that can fix, make some wrongs right. And it kind of gets things all screwed up.
Well, they play that game in Europe where the nations, they won't let the people ever go to those courts. They've got to go to the EU court. And so it's handing your authority away when you have less control over the feds. Anything else, Greg?
Well, my question was, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing where we have to actually ask the U.S. attorney to get involved in this?
Yeah, I think it's a bad thing because the feds are even so much more corrupt. and they'll only selectively enforce on who they want. I mean, I think that really is a state matter.
Well, the problem is always the people not holding their government accountable. That's always the problem.
Yeah.
Because you could fix these things at the state level if the people would watch their government and hold people accountable and make them fix it.
Yeah, here's an example. Who do you go to with the feds engaged in terrorism? I mean, they admit they staged the USS Liberty, they staged the Gulf of Tonkin, a bunch of other events. Who do we go to about our own government staging things? I mean, going to the feds, whoever's got more power almost always is going to be more corrupt.
Yeah, the problem, and another way of stating that too, is the problem is it assumes that somehow the federal government is more moral or ethical or something, and they're not. Just like Alex is saying, they're just people, and they're corrupt too.